Gill, really good to be talking to you. I've known you for many years now, but it's particularly your new role I'd like to ask you about. What is that role you've just started before Christmas?
So I've been appointed as the Anna coordinator for CABIC, which is Cheltenham Bishops Cleeve Anna Chaplaincy. So Anna Chaplaincy is the national network of Anna chaplains and Anna friends. It started back in 2010. Debbie Thrower was the first Anna chaplain in Alton, and it was taken over by the Bible Reading Fellowship in 2014, and is growing into a national network now of Anna chaplains and Anna friends who are seeking to offer spiritual support for older people.
What does that actually mean? What does spiritual support, what does it look like?
Well, spiritual support is very much spiritual in the broadest sense of the word. So it's engaging with people where they are, it's offering befriending, it's drawing alongside older people wherever they are in the community. That could be within a church, it could be in a care home, it could be in a sheltered living accommodation or in somebody's own home. But where there is a need for someone to draw alongside them. Obviously, we've been really conscious over the last few months in particular about the growing isolation of older people. And it's very much, you know, an idea, a chaplaincy being an idea of going out and meeting people where they are, drawing alongside them and just offering friendship and support, really, and spiritual support, seeing the person as a whole person. And ministering to their spiritual needs as well as to their sort of physical or emotional needs.
Mm-hmm. What would anyone do if they said, oh, you know, that's the sort of thing that I'd love to offer? How would it work out?
Well, if somebody's really has a heart for older people and would really like to be involved in the Anna Chaplaincy, then one of the suggestions would be to go onto we've got a website, so the CABIC website. There's lots of information there about the local organisation, but also have a look up Anna Chaplaincy in general. As I say, we're going to be having a look at recruiting Anna chaplains and Anna friends who might be part of this wider national network. There are national gatherings of Anna chaplains and Anna friends, huge resources that are available on a national level. BRF also offers something that's called Messy Vintage. So a bit like Messy Church, only Messy Vintage. The idea is to bring craft activities to the older generation and to offer spiritual support and conversation during those craft type activities. So in a similar way to Messy Church for young children, Messy Vintage is an idea of drawing alongside people, but doing something and having those important conversations at the same time. So all of that information is available either on the Anna Chaplaincy website or on our local website, which is the CABIC website, where there are role descriptions available for Anna chaplains and Anna friends, and my details are on there. Anyone's welcome to contact me if they'd like more information.
I love the sound of that idea of Messy Vintage, and maybe, hey, people can be involved in that. You mentioned something about heart motivation, heart for elderly people. Just tell us about your particular journey to this role.
Yeah, so my parents were older and they lived quite a long way away, and there was a lot of challenges as they were growing older and watching them become increasingly isolated, which when you're living at a distance is very difficult. You start to see their local support networks falling away. Sadly, that where they were very involved in a lot of local activities, but as their sort of horizons shrank, then it just seemed as if they were becoming increasingly isolated, which was hard to cope with at a distance and hard to see happen. It very much meant that I felt when I had the time, I would like to be involved in supporting older people in whatever way I could do. And over the last few years, I've been involved in befriending through Silver Line and also through a local charity, People for You, through both face-to-face befriending when we could do that and telephone befriending, certainly over recent months. So it's something that I felt very strongly about. My mother also was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So I sort of was obviously very aware of the challenges that were faced by living with Alzheimer's and the challenges for my father, who was more elderly and frail, but trying to support my mother as she, you know, as they tried to remain in their own home. Eventually we did bring them down and they came into a care home locally to Cheltenham. And so I was able to sort of visit them and see them in that care home setting. But very much, again, seeing horizons shrink and just wanting to really be involved in a way of being able to support older people and draw alongside them, I guess. And obviously there's a limit to how much one can do as an individual. And therefore in this coordinating role, the idea of being able to bring in a ministry to a local area with lots of people involved with, you know, who have a similar heart for the older people and trying to just sort of, you know, help to combat the isolation that a lot of them are feeling in normal times and particularly at the moment is just, I guess, is what motivates me and made me really want to apply for this role.
Jill, thank you for that. Just explain to us what's going on. And so if anybody's watching this and they just feel their heart move, that they'd like to offer something, to be in contact with you, to check out the website and to act on it.
Absolutely, yes. So CABIC, the CABIC website is www.cabic.co.uk. My details are on there. As I say, the role descriptions are up there. Have a look at it, have a look at Anna Chaplaincy generally, and any further information anybody wants, by all means, drop me an email.
That's brilliant. Lovely to talk to you now. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Rod.